Welcome to Within You, a podcast for seers, seekers, and especially skeptics. A modern mystic and spiritual teacher, it's my honor to guide you, to encourage you as you travel your personal spiritual journey, taking steps towards the calling of your soul. This is a series of episodes that's a selection of lessons that I've taken from my book, Love Being Human, The Key to Harmony Within You. But I encourage you to experience the majority of the 2021 and 2022 episodes as a training program for your soul. Binge on them. Take time to engage in audio companion kind of thing to the book on some of the concepts that I may have committed a paragraph or a couple of pages to that I just wanted to add a little bit more voice to over the years that I've been learning to love being human and exploring the teachings that have unfolded from that message. It just felt important to me to be with you for a few pages of your experience moving through the book. During the actual time, 2021 and 2022, I engaged in what I call a sacred pause, an intentional act of making space and giving myself room to grow and evolve. After, like so many of us, I hit burnout as I forced myself through, pushed myself through, kind of hustled it out in 2020. I'm grateful for past Vivi for taking that pause, because without that, I would not have had the ability, I believe, to give birth to the book, to finally publish what I had felt inspired to bring into the world. And it's just so hard to honor ourselves when we're moving through a transition, when you're feeling different and not the same. And I hope that these offerings resonate for you in some way. And they are what emerged from what I call that holy silence. In this episode, I speak to the concept of community because you're not alone in feeling lonely. The research is literally like littered with the concept that relationships are the key to our happiness. And studies show that we have an epidemic of loneliness in America. For me, it has a lot to do with lots of things. But one of them, I believe, is that we've kind of moved away from intergenerational families, which is the majority of the way people live in other parts of the world. And we have this hyper independence that is communicated as America, and especially here in Texas. I don't know. It's hard to move through life feeling like you're scrapping by on your own. David and I have a shared experience. We've been married over 3 decades, and as a young married couple, when he was a soldier, active duty Army, and I was raising, at that time, just Joshua, going to school full-time, working full-time, and really just kind of burning the candle at both ends. I wouldn't have made it through that without the hands of my military spouse friends, without them forming a community around me. And there are just too many to name. And the acts are simple, brief exchanges of kindness to consistently showing up to be there for me, my son, or to just, like, what comes to mind right now is Kelly. So Kelly, if you happen to be hearing this, you know, those young days at Fort Hood where we would spend our summer kind of coping. We worked together in the financial aid office of Central Texas College. And then we had boys that were the same age, and we went to the pool and we washed the car and we just made it through. And, you know, that's those kinds of things that you just don't win this game of life on your own. And when you have to go through it on your own, it's not a badge of honor. It's, in my opinion, a symptom of a sickness in our society. So I have a couple of notes that I'll refer to, and then I'll open up the book and read a couple of things. But the very first thing that I wanted to share is I had an aha moment when I recently came across a famous Zen koan that I'd heard over and over again, and it just didn't resonate with me. I didn't understand it in the way that I actually do now. But the koan is, what is the sound of one hand clapping? It's an illusion. You need 2 hands to clap. It doesn't happen. You're imagining it. And that's exactly how I feel about how do we live without community. It's an illusion. You just don't do it. So my first point in the book is on page 164. And the heading of that page says you can't do this alone. So I'm just going to read for a tiny bit. Humans are social beings. I learned from my research that whenever you try to be different and pull yourself away from your social structure, it's going to be painful. Social pain lights up the same areas of your brain as physical pain. If someone turns away from you, rolls their eyes, or just disses you, it'll put you into what we call the amygdala hijack. It's a pretty stressful state. Research also shows that numbing physical pain is possible by taking Tylenol because it numbs the part of our brain that lights up when you experience social pain. A couple of points to that are that there's an undertone to it, but especially with the recent research from Ellen Lager, first tenured female psychologist at Harvard and the grandmother of mindfulness. We are intrinsically linked, not only to each other, but our systems. So our physical, emotional, spiritual, it all fits together. Imagine you can take a pill. You can take a pill to numb social pain when it's intended to numb physical pain. We feel the pain when we experience social pain, like we feel it in our body. The other important thing that the book points out is this really fascinating thing that I grew up with, imagining and being taught the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where he identifies safety, shelter, and food as our basic need that we have to meet before we can attend to the higher needs of love and belonging. It's not true. Maslow actually never said that. Like it's this weird little swimming thing that goes up and down before and after. Here's the thing. As a human being, it's likely that you will pick connection over those basic needs of food and shelter and safety. There are so many examples of that. Our need for each other is more fundamental than our need for food and shelter. How connected are you to a community? Is it where you want to be? It's essential. It's essential for you as a human being, but it's also critical when you're in a space like this, when you are being mindful of who you are and growing towards who you want to become. You don't do that alone. You need support. And if you don't have a social circle or a community of support that is helping you grow in that way, there are so many different ways for you to find it. One of my ways that I used to do before I had people around me, and sometimes I still do actually. The people have changed depending on my invisible team has changed over the years, and they really shift around depending on where my focus is. So part of my team right now, who's always been consistent on my team, she is a personal friend of mine. We're besties, and I can call on her, and she pulls through every single time. I admire her. I respect her. I feel her teaching me, guiding me. I have a recent addition to my team that I've just added, and she is a doctor of the church. She is the patron saint of creativity. And what's interesting to me, so I admire her and I'm getting to know her better. So we're becoming besties. But one of the most fascinating things that I recently learned about her is that she actually influenced Jung. And he wrote and referenced her when he spoke of midlife because she went through a transformation at 40. I'm fascinated by her, and I'm going to learn from her, and she is going to be at my side as I move through this next phase of my life, which includes the identity that I actually pinned on myself, that I declared to my family at my croning ceremony when I turned 50. It also includes love and deepening in love and receiving and giving love. But one of the things that has become a pull for me, I used to be so afraid of it back in the day, was this reclaiming of our indigenous roots and the healing practice of curanderismo and how my culture incorporated herbalism, sobaderos, so massage, energy work. Everyone had their own gift and they would share that with the community. I have been really excited about learning more about herbalism and just, kind of following the breadcrumbs as they come to me. The point of all of that is I did then, and I still do have an imaginary circle of support, an imaginary community of mentors and guides that I reach out to, that I pray to, that I ask for inspiration from, and that I receive guidance. And so if you feel like there isn't a human around you that can provide that for you, even though you're listening to me and I am human, you can build your own team and pick them, your own actual ancestors. So that's an option for you. One of the things that I want to point out to you in my book is on 177 and 178. And what I did there in the acknowledgements is I brought attention to the different communities of practice that I am a part of and wanting to really thank them. There are so many communities of practice. And the reason that I point these out, and I can see as I browse through them, it's from the very beginning until now. And these communities of practice, I'm sure, will continue. There just is something about gathering with others as you learn and as you experience and as you grow, and feed the fuel of your curiosity and your holy creativity. It's so much more than important. It's critical. It's like essential. I am recording this episode to emphasize to a degree that I don't know how, in order to stress the importance of you finding support for yourself as you grow. It's important. It's so important. Please do not disregard the ways that you can find support. In my notes, I actually made a note about Surgeon General Vivek Murthy, who speaks about how loneliness is a public health crisis. And he shares how people can be surrounded by lots of people but still feel lonely if they don't have a strong connection and if they feel like they can't be themselves. Being ourselves is a practice, and it is a process that is continuous and it's never ending, because you as a self are never static. And I like to say this all the time. We are like laundry. We're never done. You're right. We're not dinner. You don't get it done and say you did it. We are becoming all the time. And so recognizing who you are, drawing your attention towards understanding yourself better so that you can express yourself more truly. It is a gift, keeps on giving. The outside of my life over the last 10 years has not changed. I live in the same house. Well, I don't drive the same car, but I practically dress the same, look the same, except for additional wrinkles and some more canas. On the outside, you would think that nothing has changed, but I will tell you that everything is absolutely different. There is a richness and a meaning and a fulfillment in my life that I didn't think was possible. And it is because I am more connected to myself first, and then intentional about my connections with my immediate family and those that I bring into my circle as friends. And I am getting to know myself as I learn and grow and change. And so I wrote that down and I share that with you because you can be surrounded by people, not feel seen and not feel heard. And genuine connection makes your life richer and more joyful. Togethering raises optimism and creativity. And we need it for survival. Literally, survival. My path required me to stop trying to be somebody that I thought people wanted me to be or who I should be. And when I became more like myself, I just literally enlivened my life. And again, you are always changing. Yourself is always different. Don't sort of put yourself in a prison of the past and get yourself stuck in that persona, because you may not look different. You are different. And there's something in the research about our cells changing over, and like within 7 years, your body has sort of recreated itself. Isn't that fascinating? So there's always a way for you to start again. And my last point on my notes is an invitation for you. If you are feeling like you lack community, you are invited. You have a personal invitation to join me within University and allow yourself to be truly seen. If it's easier to flex your muscles with strangers that can become friends, know that I'm here for you. You can find my community at www.withinuniversity.com. There's a couple of options there for you to pick. One is one-to-one mentoring, and one is coaching with a coach in residence. And I think there's an option for just the community. And the community is a very simple platform outside of the normal social channels so that you don't have to experience that noise, and a place where you can, peek at the lessons and journeys that we've gone through and dive into anything that pops up. So Within University is my learning community. And if you don't have community, or you feel like you don't know where to start in community, then feel free to explore that or follow any of the suggestions that I have mentioned here. So in closing, in addition to inviting you to my community, I want you to know that if you are stuck or in between, if you're confused and you don't know what to do next, or you're just impatient with the progress you're making on your own, I can help you. I can help you look within and learn to rely on your own intuition so that you don't feel lost or left in the dark. If you are ready, then and you're interested in working with me, please call or text 760-576-5683. And I do hope that you've enjoyed this episode and that you accepting my invitation to binge these or to experience them as an augment, an audio companion to the book. And here's another thing that I don't often say, but I want to make sure that since you're here till the end, that you know this. If you'd like me to send you an autographed copy of the book, send me a note, and then just what you'll do is just add a little extra for shipping, and then I'll get it out to you and send it to you personally. I don't think that the word is proud, but I feel very, I don't know how to describe it. It's like being settled. I'm imagining myself painting and not knowing what's going to show up on the canvas, but knowing that it's going to be whatever it needs to be. I'll leave you with that. Allow yourself to be mindful of the community that you seek, of the communities that you're a part of, and of the type of support that you need so that you can feel like you can be yourself, so that you can feel like there's a genuine connection there and that you're being seen and heard. The you, both that is here today and the you that you want to feel supported as you're growing towards, because it's our divine right. We are all moving towards or have the opportunity to move towards our center and our highest good. That is the path of learning to love being human, is allowing yourself to emerge. So thank you for being with me. And I look forward to any feedback that you have. And I encourage you to allow yourself to take the time that you need in order to make something like this happen and not rush things. Just trust that there is a divine timing. And when you ask for something, it will start to show up for you. It is just the power of how our brain works in our design. There's a bias that's built in that will begin to filter out things that you're not paying attention to and begin to draw your attention towards the things that you're looking for. It is like magic, but it's not. It's real life. So thank you for being with me. I hope to see you and hear from you in future episodes and maybe in my inbox. Thanks.